a place that is spoken about only in whispers. A dark area that spawns the beginnings of urban legends. A place where anything can happen and usually does. During the light of day, it hides just outside of you. But when the sun goes down, spirits, creatures of the night, roam free, and things do go bump in the night. It is in every state and every country, and there is no escaping it, no matter how safe you feel behind your locked doors and latched windows. So we invite you to turn down the lights and turn up your radio while we join Dave Schrader and Tim Dennis, your hosts, on a journey into the darkness on the edge of town.
Good evening and welcome to the show. Darkness Radio is on. I'm Dave, that's Tim. Good evening, sir.
Evening.
Feels like we've never left.
It does, doesn't it?
Non-stop. Long weekend.
Long weekend?
Yes, very long weekend.
Very short weekend.
Well, it's been very long and extended into non-stop working, which is good. I'm glad to be back, but I'll tell you, man, if I can help anybody out, let me do this. Avoid grieving if you can. Just don't do it. Just try to not have anybody die in your life. That'll make life a lot easier, because this grieving garbage is a bitch.
It sucks.
Yeah, it'll hit you. You know, I thought, I've actually been very even keel and pretty balanced for a while here. Yeah. And then it's the stupid stuff. You know, tomorrow's 2 weeks since my mom passed away. And I know listeners are like, all right, we get it. She's gone. Stop your whining. But just as an aside, man, it'll sneak back up on you. Mm-hmm. Even though you think, I got a handle on this. I'm happy with the fact that I had such a great relationship with my mom. I'm not in that weird place that I feel regret. But I finally figured out today what the one component is.
What's that?
So, I said, have a great relationship with the people in your life so you don't have the regrets.
Yeah.
You don't have to sit back and wish you would have said or wish you would have done something. And I maintain that. That's a great piece of advice, even if I do say so myself, and I do. I said it myself.
You did, yeah.
But what you can't get over is what still drives me about death. Do we really go somewhere afterwards? Is there something else?
You're still kind of hung on that. Huh?
Yeah. I've seen things. I've heard things.
Mm-hmm.
I've talked to mediums, Mark Anthony and Chip Coffey and James Von Prague and our great friends Michael and Marty Perry and Chris Fleming. And I've seen them deliver amazing messages.
Mm-hmm.
But I wonder how much of that is them able to pull from the Akashic records we each carry of memories and thoughts and love. And how much of that is just, reading from the card catalog of our own life.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's kind of what's still edging me out. I just wish I had an answer. I wish, here's the one thing. I wish I could just have that moment where my mom's just like, yep, everything's cool. We're good. And then I think it'd be okay. It's still that not knowing. It's still that unanswered question.
I know I don't mean to turn these tables on you, but I know you've given me crap about this before in the past about that Mr. Skeptic over there. Oh, I wish I'd have that moment. And I've told you this in private. You are going to have this moment. It's going to happen. And even then you're going to question it. It's going to come at a time maybe when you least expect it. I know it's very cliche to say that, but you're going to have this moment, and when she's going to reach across and she's going to hit you in the most ironic of ways and let you know that she's around. And I know what it is, what you're looking for, but I thought I heard it on your side, not mine.
But I can't find it.
Oh.
It's crossed over somewhere else.
Maybe it's ported into my studio.
Weird, yeah.
But you're going to have that moment, and you're going to go, but did I really have that experience? And now the next phase of it is you're going to be questioning. Did I really have the experience I thought I had?
Right.
And that's the next phase of it, and that's going to drive you nuts.
Next phase, new phase, dance craze anyways, it's still rock and roll to me.
And so, and it's natural to keep questioning, and And that's the thing that will be driving you nuts next.
It is, and you're right. And it drives me nuts. I hate that I'm not. Where is it coming from? Where is it?
See, I swear it's on your side. I don't think it's here.
But I can't. I find my phone nowhere to be found. I can hear it mocking me.
It is. It is mocking you.
It's mocking me, but I can't find it. Anyway, yeah, you're right, and I probably will question that as well. That's what terrifies me about death, man.
And you hate the cliche too. Well, you'll find out when you get there.
Yeah,
because it's like, well, you know what? I don't want to find out when I get there. I want to know now because I want that peace of mind before I get there. And please let's not get the people who are high and mighty on the Bible riding train going now either. Of if you just have faith. Well, you know what? If you get to the top of the roller coaster and you look right down the slope and you go, it's gonna be okay. Well, you know what? Some people do fall off the roller coaster. It's happened at Valley Fair and a few people have died on it. So you can't say it's really gonna be okay.
Sherry bastard.
So, you know what? You don't know that for sure because, there are some preachers that behind closed doors are doing their secretaries and they are going to hell. I'm just saying. Yeah, I do have a little bit of cynicism in me, and yeah, I can be the pessimist at times. So,
no.
Yes, I can be. I can deliver the message of doom when I want to.
My phone would have been a snake. It had bit me right in the Johnson.
It would have, yes. So with that in mind, you can never say with 100% certainty, I don't care who you are and what you've been studying and what faith you practice, that you're going to end up where you think you're going to end up. But I think you can say with some certainty that you know where it is you're going to end up.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I know where I'm going to end up. That's part of what's frightening me, too.
I didn't say that. I didn't throw you the softball so that you could, But I with certainty, I can tell you that she will come to you. She will give you the message of that you are looking for at the time.
See, I feel guilty. That's my other part. This is the other weird part of this I didn't expect, is I feel guilt. I don't want to call. I don't want to call upon mommy to smooth me out. In life, yeah, you like to pick up the phone and, Mom, this is what's going on. What the hell do I do? Right? Mm-hmm. We all like that. Mom, I feel like crap. Just tell me everything. Rub my head. Make me some soup. Do something, right? I have a lot of people that say, well, just ask Dave. She's always around. I don't like that either. I hate feeling like maybe she feels she has to stay here because I'm being such a man baby. Like she's like, oh, God, I thought I was done. I want to go on and get the mani-pedi in heaven. I hear it's delicious. But I got to stay here because this whiny little whelp won't shut up and stop whining. So I feel guilty about it. And I feel bad asking for, give me a sign, Mom. Light up the flashlight.
You know what?
Through a fiery hoop for me, Mom.
There is a bit of BS to that whole. If you're ready, it'll happen. I'll tell you this much. Since my stepdad passed away, and we were talking about this past month. It's been 8 years since he passed away.
That's crazy.
8 years.
I think you're making it up.
I have only heard from him through 2 psychics, believe it or not. He's never appeared. You know how I've had these dream visitations?
Right.
He's never come to me in a dream visitation. And I know why. It's because I'm afraid to talk to him one-on-one. I'm afraid to see his face again. I'm afraid to hear his voice. I haven't gotten over it.
Yeah.
If you're not ready, she will not appear. And I'm telling you that with as sure as I'm looking at you right now.
No, it's not that I'm not ready. I mean, don't get me wrong. If I could see my mom,
okay,
I'd be fine with it.
All right.
I just don't want to be like, Mommy, give me a sign. Mommy, can you hear me? I feel weird about that, which is strange because we go into haunted locations all the time and we're like, hey, somebody else's mom, give me a sign. But I just don't want to make it feel like she's tied. I don't want her to become a haunting for someone else.
Mm-hmm.
Because she ends up getting earthbound because I wouldn't let her go.
That's
weird, dude. I don't know. I don't know how to process all this crap. This is bogus. Yeah.
You know why I don't think she is? And if I can get real personal on the air, like we've never done that before. No. I don't think she's earthbound because, and this being why, because I think you guys did it right. You were all surrounded. You all told her it was okay to go. You all let her go when you had to let her go. And I think she knew it was okay to go because she had all of your love, all of your support, and I think you all did it correctly.
You know, but there's that weird remorseful feeling, too, of feeling like, God, by telling her, Mom, I don't want you to hurt anymore. If you want to let go, I'm okay with that. I feel kind of like, did she feel like, oh, crap, he wants me to go?
No.
You know, I feel that's another weird part of this whole grieving process, man. It's just something that's hard to get past. And why are you two morons talking about this on air? Can't you guys talk about this off air?
No, it's a show about death. Get over it.
That's my point. I just thought, people always say they like when we talk about depression and that we are open about these things. And I think, a lot of people have faced this or will face this.
Yeah.
And it's alarming. I had a horse crap day. I'm going to be honest with you. Now, part of it is I've had no sleep for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Weather gives me migraines. So I've been bucking a migraine.
Yeah.
I'm just physically, mentally, and spiritually exhausted. And then it just hits me 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Gone, man.
Yeah.
Like that. 2 weeks. 8 years.
Yeah.
For your stepdad. Bam. 8 years.
It's been 3 years since my grandfather passed away. Yeah.
It just doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel right. We talked this weekend on Coast to Coast about time travel with Jeff Belanger.
Yep.
And I talked about the fact that the way consciousness works, especially like in a car accident, when you're having that moment, time seems to go on forever. I mean, when you see it coming, when you bam, you just get hit, you don't see it, it's over, right? Mm-hmm. But like when I did that spin out with Cliff when he was about 13 years old, right? It was about 15 years ago.
Yep.
We did this spin out on 35W heading to Duluth, and there's cars whipping past, and our car just starts to spin wildly. I mean, we're just like on a Ferris wheel, kind of, merry-go-round. And I just looked at my son, and I'm like, in this voice, I'm like, I'm really sorry. This is gonna hurt, son. When they hit us, and they're gonna hit us, it's gonna hurt. And he's like, I know, Dad, don't worry. And I'm like, well, but this was my fault. I should have been paying closer attention. I should have, we have this long dialogue, this really weird, long, patient dialogue, which in reality probably took seconds to experience. Mm-hmm. But in the reality of it, it felt like it took minutes for us to chat about this, this moment.
Yeah.
And then I realized it. I realized over the weekend why that happens. Why in those moments time stops or goes so slow when you're seeing something horrible unfold in front of you. Do you know why it is?
Why is that?
Because in that one moment, that series of moments, you're not concerned about what happened yesterday. You're not concerned about what's coming up 10 minutes from now. Mm-hmm. You're not worried about what's for dinner. You're in the moment.
You're right.
And maybe that's the secret to having time be our bitch. Maybe that's the code and the combination to take back time so that it doesn't speed by. Right? Be in that moment. Don't focus on your phone when your kids are talking to you. And I'm guilty of this. Don't worry about, you could pause, you can record. I don't know if you're aware of this, Tim, that these newfangled recording devices allow you to record television so you can watch it later. You can even skip past the commercials.
What?
So you shorten, so your 1 hour becomes 40 minutes. Imagine all the stuff you can get done in that 20 minutes that you didn't have before.
Wow.
So maybe if we become more with the moment and anticipate what's going on right then and there, mm-hmm. maybe that's the way we recapture time. And we all let time become a slave to us again instead of us becoming a slave to time. And I say that because, look, when you're on your phone, dicking around, right? Mm-hmm. You go into the bathroom, you start scrolling through Facebook, and all of a sudden you're like, holy crap, I've been in here an hour?
Yeah.
How does this, what? I can't move my legs.
Yeah.
Call for help. I can't move. I'm bonding with the seat.
And you call 911 and it's awkward.
Yeah. But that time goes like that because your mind is not in the moment. Not that at that moment you really want to be focused on poop, but but I'm saying is, when you do what you do and got to move on, no matter what you're doing, if you're focused in that moment, if you're enjoying the company, the people, the whatever you're doing, maybe that's the way we can all start to take back our time, and we can all start to appreciate the moments that are given to us, and they don't become a fleeting memory, which is what's bothering me now. Because I'm so tired, because I'm stressed, I have a horrible short-term memory. Mm-hmm. I'm horrible with people's names. I feel bad about it. Molly and you, Dennis, I always forget to get your guys' names.
Just call me Spanky.
It's 11 years. Yeah. People still tell me how much they enjoy me and Dennis.
Yeah. Well, I'm used to it.
How? I very rarely refer to you as Dennis. It's always Tim.
My surgeon still calls me that. He's been seeing me for 3 years.
Really?
I see him today.
Exclusively, though?
Well, we see other people. But I walk in today and he goes, Denise, it's good to see you again today. And I'm like, Tim, it's
Denise?
Tim.
Why did he call you Denise?
I don't know. Maybe he wants to put a wig on me. I have no idea. I'm scared to go under the knife in a month because he's probably going to put me face down and do evil things.
Could be. Maybe you got it coming, though.
No, I could.
Yeah, but be in the moment when it happens.
I will. I'll enjoy every moment of it, Fernando.
We have to take a break. We'll come back. We'll talk a little bit more. We've got supernatural news. We got ParaShare encounters. And I'll tell you what, this is an open night. If you want to call in and you have thoughts about this or anything you want to share, that's not always just the cliched answers. Listen, I love you people, and I love the beautiful emails and messages and everything that you've sent to me, and they mean a lot, but let's get past the basics, right? I know Mom's with me and she'll always be with me, and I can always speak to the heavens and she'll hear me, and, I know all of that. I'm not new to this game, right? So, but if you have other insights and, kind of like this epiphany I had about time, if something like that resonates with you or you have a concept, feel free to call us right now, 651-989-5855, 651-989-5855, or if you just want to tell Dennis how much you enjoy him, you can do that too. We'll take a quick break. We'll come back. We've got more to chat about. We'll do some news. We'll do ParaShare. We'll do that all here on Darkness Radio. I'd love to hear from you. We've got some callers ringing in now, 651-989-5855, 651-989-5855. Sam in Coon Rapids, welcome to the show.
What's going on?
How are you? Thanks for listening tonight.
I'm doing well. Thank you very much. I just want to say hello to you guys. I've been listening to you guys for a couple years now.
Great. Thank you. We appreciate that.
Oh, yeah, no problem. I actually was trying to call you guys for the last couple of weeks because I know it's ParaShare Monday where you talk about the encounters that you've had.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. Did you have something you wanted to share with us?
Yeah, and it actually semi ties into your thing you've been going through for the last weekend here.
All right, please.
Yeah, for sure. I was just going to say, when I was 18, let's see here, I was in a parking lot actually on Brooklyn Park. I was doing some homework before school. And I'm trying to explain this here. I basically looked up into the sky and I saw what you would call and I would call God. And
when you say you looked up and you saw God, what was that? What did that look like to you?
Well, I can describe it perfectly. It wasn't like a cloud or nothing like that. In fact, all the clouds were actually moving around what I would say is God. And he was in a white robe, holding a staff, and he had a really long white beard, too. And he was literally, like, waving to me. It was very odd.
And why do you think he was singling you out?
I honestly, I was going to bring that up later a little bit here in the story.
Okay.
Because I guess you could say I more or less have proof of it. Because when it happened to me, the only word that I could describe is you get very emotional. Because I guess you could say we aren't exactly meant to see God.
All right.
And so I would say 3 years later, roughly about 3 years later, I felt compelled to start telling people because I didn't tell anyone, like I said, for about 3 years. And so it kind of, it weighs on your mind for a while. And so I decided to tell the preacher. I go to a church and I decided to tell the priest there. And it was really odd. Not odd, actually. It was more or less spectacular. When I was there, I asked him, have you heard from anyone or has anyone, said anything like this to you? And this is like a really, really small church that I go to. I think we only got like 56 members. And he said, actually, a kid had painted a painting of what he thought was God, and he actually gave me one of them. And I didn't really know what to do with it. And then you came into my door, and you know what I'm saying? You're telling me this story.
Mm-hmm.
And so I feel like you're compelled. You were meant to have it.
Oh, that's neat. So this picture came into your hands then?
Oh, yeah, for sure. And I guess the story behind it is the person who saw it saw God as well, and they felt compelled to paint it.
Oh, that's beautiful. Very cool. Wow, neat little moment of synchronicity, huh?
Oh, yeah, it was very powerful.
Very cool. Well, Sam, thanks for listening and giving us a call.
Yeah, for sure.
I appreciate that. Thank you. And if you've got encounters you want to share, you can do that. If you want to call in and talk about the walls and how grieving works. It's like I said, Tim, it's so strange. You know, I felt like I made it past my birthday, which was tough.
Mm-hmm.
I made it past Thanksgiving, which I thought was going to be tough, and they just kind of rolled by.
Yeah.
And I felt like, all right, you know. And then I thought, well, you know, I've got my mom's remains with me at home.
Mm-hmm.
I've got a crucifix with her ashes in it as well.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe part of the reason I feel at peace is because she is truly with me. She's there with me, and there's not this distance that happened. And when she passed, it was right at the time of the celebration of my birth. And when our mother and son or mother and daughter even closer than at that moment of birth and that psychic bond. So I thought maybe this is why it doesn't hurt so much, is that connection is still so strong. And like I said, I don't know if it's just being tired or the weather or a combination of everything, but it was emotional, man, that I just started bawling for no reason. You know, I mean, obviously reasons, but it was just like, and it wouldn't stop. And the weirdness and the pain and, you know, it's a strange, grief is so weird.
There is something to be said about the different stages of grief too. And, you know, you really were going through right before the memorial, you really were going through that anger stage of grief. And I think you're progressing through the different stages. I really do think that's part of it too. And it's natural.
I've been really hanging in that Dunkin' Oreos and milk stage a little too long.
I don't think there is such a thing. I think you
Has
have.
that been too long?
No, never. It never is. I mean, you just cannot. I think that stage is forever, Dave. That's a forever stage.
The Dunkin' Oreos?
Yeah, the Dunkin' Oreos. Yeah.
4,000 pounds.
Oh.
All right. Phone lines are still ringing. 651-989-5855. 651-989-5855. And do me a favor. Just please do me one favor. If you're a sensitive or a medium, don't call me with a message from my mom. That's the only thing I don't want to have happen tonight. We'll talk about other topics and we'll do some supernatural news. We'll talk about paranormal experiences. And if you've had visitations after someone you loved passed, good, bad, or indifferent, let me know. Let me see what the common thread is between these messages. I'd love to hear what happened. And has anybody ever had a bad visitation afterwards where they came back to tell them it's not a good thing? I'm just curious. So chat with me on that. 651-989-5855. We'll be back with more and more of your calls. You're listening to the best in paranormal talk radio. This is Darkness Radio. It says, hey, Darkness Dave and Tempting Tim.
Ooh.
I've never written to the show before, but after listening to the podcast for nearly 6 months, and I've heard firsthand how kind the Army of Darkness is, I'm a student at the Ohio State University, where the shooting, stabbing attack occurred this morning. I do not know any more details than the media and the university has given us, but I can tell you that there are many students, parents, and professors who are in shock and scared. I personally can't believe something like this would happen here of all places, but I guess that's what everyone says after this type of event. I wanted to ask if you could all send some prayers and good vibrations for the victims who have been hospitalized, for the ones who on campus in the Columbus Police Department as the day goes on, and thank you for all the work that you both do and for your amazing show. And that comes from Rachel. So certainly, Rachel, we'll put that out there, and everyone involved is in our thoughts and prayers for what's going on. It's a brutal tragedy, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Jason Weaver writes in and he says, could you guys please do a big prayer for Gatlinburg, Tennessee? There are 14 fires burning in the city limits. Mandatory evacuations. Rain is in the forecast, but is following 60-plus mile-per-hour headwinds. Firefighters are busting their ass. We've had no rain here where I live near Atlanta in over 2 months.
Wow.
So, yes, Jason, we will keep you all in our prayers as well, and that the rain comes and puts out these fires. 14 fires burning in the city limits, and we just pray that they can put those out and save them, and that would be it. So, terrifying stuff. All right, let's get back to it, shall we? We've got some more calls ringing in. Danny in Connecticut, you're on the air.
How it's going tonight, Dave?
Oh, doing all right, Danny. Thanks for listening. What's up?
I recently had I guess you could say the darkest night of the soul, where I've been stressing over, my life. And I kept on praying to have God show me a sign. Now, one night when I was sleeping, I had a weird dream. And part of the dream, I saw an image that looked like Christ. And it says, I am here. But the thing is, the Christ looked like the Jesus of Nazareth actor. So I wonder, could that really have been a sign from God, or was it just something in my imagination?
That's the tough thing. Yeah, it could be either or. And maybe the reason that it looks like the Jesus of Nazareth Jesus to you is because that's what we are familiar with. Because honestly, let's face it, if the Jesus showed up, if the Christ showed up looking as he did back then, he would probably be a short Jewish man with curly dark hair and a big nose and look nothing like the white Anglophile version, we'd say. And I shouldn't stereotype by saying the big nose and the curly hair, but I'm just saying, it would look much more of that ilk than it would like the blue-eyed, flowing Fabio-haired Jesus we all know. But, will they take the visage of something you'd recognize? That's why I think a lot of visitations that we get from loved ones may just be angels that are taking on the imagery to give us the messages we need to know or hear, because we'll recognize that, and that's something that brings us comfort, as opposed to, in all honesty, if a big white fluffy angel with wings and a halo appeared and started talking to you, you'd probably think you were nuts.
Maybe, but I think I would have a little more concrete in that, because of the picture of Jesus as Nazareth.
Right.
It's the idea of it. I know Jesus isn't a brown-haired, blue-eyed Englishman.
Right.
So it's just I think he looks probably Middle Eastern, like you said, and he But I also wanted to say to you before I went, Dave, is that I don't think you should worry so much about your mom showing you a sign. If anybody, like I said in the email to you, if anybody is going to get to heaven, it's going to be a woman that devoted her life to caring for children, sick children, like a Shriners. If anybody's got a straight go light anywhere, your mom would be that. You know what I mean? But what scares me too, like you say, some of the mediums, the people that talk to you, how can we really trust them with that? Because I notice, at least from the media bias that I've seen, it seems like it's very selective and vague answers to people, that some of them charge like $600 for a half an hour call. Are they really doing a calling, or are they trying to make a buck? You know what I mean?
Well, the people, I'll tell you, from the ones that I've worked with, though they may charge, you're paying for their time. And I've seen mediums do more in a half an hour reading than 10 years of laying on a psychoanalyst's couch. So you have to look at that too. And, it's a judgment call for what brings you peace and happiness. And some people, there are mediums that you can talk to that charge $20, $30, $40. There are some that are very expensive, but that's because their time is so bogged down and so many people are coming at them that, they do fewer and fewer. So it's, I can't judge. Everybody's got a gift. It's like saying, well, should Britney Spears charge for concert money when she's obviously got a God-given talent? Should Michael Jordan charge, and be paid millions of dollars to play basketball because he's got a God-given talent? Well, sure, because you've got a talent doesn't mean you should just do it for free. So,
I agree there,
yeah.
But the only thing is, how do you know they're really...
Well, that's why you get a good evidential medium, when they can give you specifics, and it's not just, there's somebody with a J name in your family, Danny, and they want you to know they love you and they're proud of you. Everybody can say that, but like Mark Anthony and the Perrys and Chip Coffey and Chris Fleming, I've been there when they get into the specifics of, Chris Fleming was talking one day doing this big gallery reading. He goes, I see this big A-frame house in the woods, but like the whole exterior is glass on one side. And that's pretty specific. And then he said, and there's a duck or like a big goose walking around the front yard, but it's not wild, it's a pet. And this was given to this person by an uncle or a close male relative, like an uncle. And the woman sitting next to me, her uncle was a tennis pro who had this beautiful A-framed house out in the woods. One whole side was glass, and he, for her birthday, gave her a big duck. So how in God's green earth would he know this unless he was getting that message from that person? So when you can get evidential as opposed to, yeah, you have a grandpa, right, Danny? And, I see him driving a car and eating, right? Did he eat and drive a car? Then when you get to generalizations, that's when you maybe start questioning it. But when they can get into the specifics and give you detailed information, Chip Coffey, the first time we had him on our show, connects with this guy and says, hey, your girlfriend's here. She says, you got to stop sitting in the car listening to that song over and over, crying about it. And the guy's like, oh, my God, I do that all the time. How would he know that? He'd never spoken to this guy, had no clue who it was, and he was able to give that specific a message. So that's what I say. You got to, know what you're looking for and who you're dealing with. And there's got to be some kind of evidential proof that you're speaking or that they're speaking to that side. But thanks for calling in and for the thought-provoking conversation. We appreciate it, Danny. Let's go to Matt in Roseville before the break here. Hey, Matt, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Dave, I feel for you. I actually called to talk about the time deal and why all of a sudden it felt like when you were spinning out that that chat seemed like
right.
But I've changed. I've heard your heart, and I have a couple of things that I'd like to share with you. And there are a couple of sayings that I have appreciated over the years. One is sympathy, and I didn't realize that your mom volunteered at Shriners as much.
Well, my mom was a nurse, full-time nurse for 30-some years or 30 years at Shriners Children's Hospital. But then she did all the volunteer work with Glam Camp and other things just to be there for the kids, yeah.
Well, I help at our children's hospital in Minneapolis every
That's
week
great.
On Tuesdays.
Thank
and, deal with, brain cancer support groups and things as well. But anyhow, I'm sure you've heard of Khalil Gibran, but, on the volunteering side, just thinking about your mom, there was one saying, I slept and I dreamt that life is all joy. I woke and I saw that life is all service. I served and I saw that service is joy. To me, that's very profound.
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe I missed it on that one, but...
No, I'm with you. I think that is. It's very profound, and I've found that, too, that sometimes, when people are dealing with depression, I've often given the advice of getting out of your own headspace and do something for others. And sometimes by donating your time and working with some youth group or special needs, suddenly you realize that your problems aren't, anything. And getting outside of your own head, you're able to help others, which makes you feel better and takes you out of that depression, too. So I'm with you. Service, I think, is an amazing way to give back and get just as much out of it as you're putting in.
Oh, we get more out of it.
That's right.
I mean, we've helped families over Christmases in the past through your show. Thank you very much.
Awesome.
And
Thank you.
one of my favorite sayings, my own sayings, is it's impossible to give a hug without getting one.
Right.
But the other Khalil Gibran was, when you are sorrowful, look again in your heart, and you shall see that in truth you are weeping for that which has been your delight. So while you're hurting, realize, you're really, what you're recognizing is the positive.
Oh yeah, and I get that. And when people say, focus on the good, well, I'm not crying because I had bad times with Mom. It's those good times I'm going to miss. It's going to be all of those, the positives and the wishing. It's a selfish endeavor. That's what grieving really is, right? And if it was anything else, we'd just be happy and give go and cheer. And it's a good thing Mom's gone and in heaven now and doesn't have to put up with the shenanigans coming our way. But it's our selfishness of wanting to call Mom one more time and getting some advice, or just to hear her voice, just to, get that acknowledgement or that hug. that's what we miss. And it's all the positives that we miss. It's all that makes us hurt.
But you know that she is still here. I mean,
sure.
I've been a hardware and software engineer for many decades. Energy does not stop. You know, the energy that drives the light bulb, the reason the light bulb burns is because of imperfections. You know, when the body stops, the energy doesn't. The energy is still there. So she's still here. You know that.
Yeah, I do. And I'm comforted by that. And like I said, that might be part of why I haven't felt the resounding crush since she passed away the entire time, is because she is still part of me and will be around me. And I see that in the faces of my children every day. But thank you very much for calling in and sharing some insight. We have to take a break. We'll come back. We'll continue with your calls. 651-989-5855, 651-989-5855. We also have supernatural news to get to. We've got ParaShare. It's just a night of open dialogue and communication and being in the moment. And that's what I'm doing with you tonight, and Tim. And we love hearing from you, and we love what you have to share with us. So we'll do that when we continue on Darkness Radio. Bob in Vadnais Heights. Bob, welcome to the show.
Hi, how you doing?
I'm doing well, Bob. What did you want to share with us tonight?
Well, I'm sick with cancer right now. I got esophageal cancer.
I'm sorry to hear that.
And, you know, it's been a while. I was diagnosed in April, and it's advanced and metastasized. So, you know I'm not going to be here on the earth too long. And, you know, your topic here so far has been talking to your mom or seeing your mom or something like that, you know, or in that gender. And, you know, I'm just wondering what's going to happen to me. I mean, I believe in God and stuff like that, but I'm not sure. Nobody can tell you. Nobody can tell you what's out there. I know I got a soul and stuff like that. I just wonder where it's going to go, you know, where it be.
Well, I think your answer's there, Bob. If you know you have a soul, if you know that you're beyond the physical form, I don't think there's any question then that we go someplace else, because, you know, you wouldn't just, you wouldn't have just a discarnate soul floating about aimlessly. There's obviously a reason for the soul to be and do and exist the way it does.
Well, I don't know. I don't know if anybody can truly say that because they've never been there. I mean, you got people might say they've had close experiences or whatever, but, you know, I can't see it being like walking up to the pearly gates and you know, and being judged on whether I'm going to spend eternity in burning hell or if I'm going to, you know, be up there drinking pina coladas with God, you know.
Mm-hmm. I wish, Bob, that's the biggest part of what drives me is that fear and not knowing, that want and desire. And like you, we hear from people that have had near-death experiences. We hear from people that astral project. We hear from the religious side. We hear from the atheistic side. We hear from the psychic mediums and soothsayers, and everybody has different perspectives on it. And I guess the big joke of it is we really won't know until it's our time to go. And maybe that's the way it's supposed to be.
That's just it. The people that have had near-death experiences I can't tell you what it's like to be dead because they're not dead. They've been close.
Right.
But something brought them back, you know. So I don't know. You know, your caller just before me was saying that, you know, your mother's out there and stuff like that because the energy, you know, it's neither created nor destroyed.
Right.
That's what he was saying, being an engineer. You know, energy is, you know, it's always going to be there. It's not expendable.
Well, I can tell you this, Bob, if it brings you any peace, that my mom was seeing something before she passed, and it brought her peace. And Tim's grandfather had the same experience, and they would see friends and loved ones. They would see clarity, and they would see and hear things that wasn't just the mind firing off rapid images of memories. They were having contextual conversations in the now with something that was there. So if that brings you any peace at all, that you won't be alone and that there is always going to be a place to be, But again, I think part of our heaven is what we create of it. And if you think it's sitting around drinking margaritas with God, then I believe that's where you're going to end up. And, I think we all have to go through a process, and we'll see how it turns out in the end. And you're in our hearts and thoughts, and we wish the best for you, Bob. And I thank you for listening, and I thank you for calling. And I just ask that our audience around the world think of Bob in Vadnais Heights, Minnesota, and send him your thoughts, your positive energy, your love, light, and any kind of comfort that you can bring to him for a healing or an easier transition in life, just whatever comes your way. But, Bob, thank you for being a part of our world and for calling in tonight. We've got more calls ringing in at 651-989-5855, 651-989-5855 if you want to be a part of the show as we talk about grieving and the afterlife process. And how do we know? How do we take psychic and mediums for their worth and their answers? I give you one bit of advice. Make sure they're an evidential medium and they can give you specific information that they would have no other way of knowing. And with that, I recommend, of course, Mark Anthony, our good friend who's been a part of the show forever, and Michael and Marty Perry, and Chris Fleming, Chip Coffey, Brett Butler. These are some of the people that I get constant reminders of how good they are at making those connections. And if you want, you can email me, dave@darknessradio.com, and I'll connect you with any one of them. We'll take a break. We'll come back. We'll continue with your calls. We'll do some supernatural news. We'll do ParaShare. We'll do that all here on the best in Paranormal Talk Radio. This is Darkness Radio. ParaShare night, and we're kind of starting off the show a little different. We were talking about the grief process, what I'm going through currently, and what many of you go through with the loss of a loved one. And as I started off the show saying, I don't recommend it for anybody, Tim. If you can avoid grief, do it.
Yeah, be happy the rest of your life. Why not?
Because this sucks. This sucks. You know. But again, part of what brings me back around is the fact that the only reason I feel these moments of down and sadness is just because I had an amazing mother that I loved with all my heart, and that's an amazing gift. So I've got that, and that will always be a part of me and who I am. And that's okay. And I mentioned the fact that, and if you missed it, we were talking about time travel on Saturday show on Coast to Coast. And we talked about how in moments of heightened anxiety or heightened fear, like almost a car wreck, seeing it coming and how things seem to slow down, how we seem to be in that moment and time takes forever or takes much longer than we normally would allow it to, like a dream. When you're having a dream, and we talked about this on the dream show the other night, it may only be a 3-minute dream, but you've lived a week in that dream.
Yeah.
How is that possible? Because to the consciousness, you're in that moment. You're not thinking about what's coming next. You're not regretting something from your past. You're living in that exact moment, experiencing it as it happens instead of standing back going, what just happened? Where did the last 2 weeks go? Right?
Right.
Standing there holding my mom's hand, watching her die, I was in that moment. And it took forever. And it's ingrained in me, and it's a part of me. And maybe that's why we remember traumatic moments so deeply, is because in those moments, we're right there. And it's in us. And we can use that to the good. We can own time again. We can make it our bitch, and we can say, no, we're going to have moments like these every day. And it doesn't always have to be bad things. It could be, let's have fun today. We're going to play these games, and this is what we're going to do. And you make something of that moment.
Being hyper-focused.
And I've been having a lot of those recently in my personal life where I've been more focused now than I've been in I can't tell you how long. And those moments, although fleeting, seem like hours of bonding time, which I've never felt before. But I'm becoming more aware of being in that moment and just enjoying it for what it is and not worrying about what comes next. And I hope people can take that away. Start trying to utilize it. Put the phone down. I know it sounds trite, but put the phone down, put the tablets down, and just be in the moment with people. And there's going to be times you're alone and you're on the bus and you want to get there quicker, so you screw around on the phone and you'll get there. But maybe even in those moments, start to talk to people. Expand outside your universe. And make the most of what life we have. So at the end of it, you don't think, nobody lays on their deathbed going, damn it, if I just could have worked one more day. If I could have just, dug one more hole, shoveled one more driveway. Nobody thinks of those moments, right? So maybe when we have the good moments, be so into them, enjoy them, love them, and that will be what you take with you. And maybe time will slow down for us again. Because I need it slowed down now, man. I've got fewer years in front of me than I do behind me, most likely. I'm 49. I could live to be 100. Maybe I got 51 years in front of me.
Yeah.
That'd be great. As long as they're healthy, good, non-senile years, which I'm worried about right now. But maybe that's where it's going to go. We're taking your calls, 651-989-5855. A lot of great insight and thoughts. Jim in Eagan, you're on the air.
Yeah, hi.
Hi, Jim.
I have two topics to talk about.
Okay.
Sort of interrelated. I suppose the most important one, my dear wife passed away February of this year. And
we're sorry for your
she's been
loss.
ill for a number of years, and, we were all concerned for her. And but golly, she's gone now, and I'm a wartime veteran. I could have buried her at Fort Snelling Cemetery here in the Twin Cities, but I chose a cemetery in Minneapolis where my people have been buried for over 100 years. It's Lakewood Cemetery. We live in a house, 3-level house. She had to have this lovely home. And moved in the house, and I noticed in my lower level rec room that I had a rug, a long runner rug, and the rug would shift. It would move, maybe a quarter inch, and it would actually move. And I said, well, this is strange. And Christmas time, Christmas tree would go in the living room, and, you put this little round skirt underneath it. And golly, one morning I went down there, and the darn thing moved about 2 feet over. I said, this is crazy. And my wife came downstairs, and she said, did you move that darn skirt under the tree? No, I did not. So we put the thing back, and a couple of days later, sure enough, moved out again. Well, this happened for about 2 years. And people, we told them about it and said, well, you live in a haunted house.
Right.
Well, I called my buddy at old talk show years ago, 850 KOA in Denver, Rick Barber, and I says, he had a psychic on that night from New York City, and I said, I got something for you. I said, I live in this crazy haunted house, and the psychic lady talks to me, and she says, you live in a home that is possessed by three spirits. They're Native Americans. They think you're just fine because you love animals. And I says, well, I guess my wife and I do love animals. We started our Animal Humane Society here in Dakota County, and she was the animal control officer for our police department, and worked hard. And so she said, you have nothing to fear. She said that you can live with these people, these spirits.
Right, coexist, right.
So anyway, Here I know I found my wife passed away. I'm 76 years old, and got this big house. I'm all here all alone, and my kids come and stay with me periodically. But so we're these spirits in my home have told me that there is an afterlife. And a lot of people got to say, show me,
Right.
I don't believe it. I have to be shown. Well, I do believe there is an afterlife. And it's something we're all gonna find that out sooner or later, right?
Well, that's the hopes, at least. I'm just hoping it's a lot later than it is sooner.
Well, my dear wife had in ill health for many years, and it's crazy, but I'm in perfect health. I find no health issues of any kind. I stay away
Excellent.
from doctors.
Right.
A lot of people do. And no drugs for me, no alcohol. I've never smoked cigarettes. And, you got to take care of yourself. No one else is going to do it for you, right?
That's right.
And, how long should you live? My dear grandmother, she lived to be, 81 now, but she was struck by a car. And but I have her sisters lived to be 98, 99 years old. And, we had a lot of longevity in our family. And So I don't know how many years the good Lord gives you, but I would say try and make the best of them.
That is true.
I have heard it takes about a year to adjust to the loss of a spouse. You shouldn't do anything stupid. So now here I am in the 9th month, and I'm going to take life as it comes.
That's the best way to do it. And Jim, we're sorry for your loss. I'm glad you had the good times that you had with your wife, and that you feel some comfort now. And I pray that for everybody, that they have that kind of that kind of life. And
right. I was in the Navy. I served aboard an aircraft carrier, and I was a chaplain's yeoman, and I saw some death and tragedy, and people would find that their sailors would find out that their brothers were killed in Vietnam,
mm-hmm.
and the chaplain helped them, bear with it, and it's very sad, but life is life, and I'm be truthful, I feel sad that my dear wife didn't live long enough to see this new country. We're gonna have a better life. Apparently, someone's gonna. I'm not gonna say who. So hopefully we'll have a better America.
That's the hopes in it. Thank you so much for listening and being a part of our show tonight, Jim.
Oh, I love your show.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Let's take a break. We'll continue with your calls. 651-989-5855. We've got supernatural news on tap. We've got ParaShare stories. We'll do all that here on Darkness Radio. To the phone lines, Josh in Cincinnati, Ohio. Thank you for your patience. Welcome to the show.
Hello.
Hi. What did you want to share with us tonight?
I lost my dad on October 27th.
And so sorry about that.
Pretty much the whole month leading up to that, we would always talk about the weird stuff. We were both big coast-to-coast fans and everything of your show, too. But he started talking to me about dreams he would have, and they were very vivid. He never did that before. And it was just odd the way he would talk about them. Like, I would be skinny. I had different stuff that would just never happen before in his dream. Well, I was wondering, is it possible that he was seeing that as a ghost in his dream? Does that make sense?
All right, I'm a little confused on it. Just so he was seeing what now?
In his dreams, he would see me walking into the kitchen, but I'd be skinny, or I'd have a different haircut,
mm-hmm.
and stuff about our dog. And
it could have been, if you buy into the multiverse possibilities, it could be that as he was nearing death and his vibrational access was changing, he may have been tapping into alternate versions of you. The multi-layered universe kind of feel, where he was picking up on all of those aspects.
I was just wondering if, like, the way I was thinking of it is, like, maybe he was a ghost. Like, say I'm started a diet, I'm losing weight. Maybe a year from now, when I get in shape or whatever, and I walk into the house and I see a ghost of him. Does that make sense? Like,
yeah. Oh no, the time slip phenomena too. Sure, and that very well could be who's haunting who in that moment, and maybe he was seeing a sign from you in the future. And yeah, who knows? That's the beauty of this. There's always something. But please respond back to us if that ever comes full cycle for you, would you?
I hope so.
All right.
Do you have any plans to go to Waverly next year?
Waverly Hills Sanitarium, no. No. Unfortunately, we love Waverly Hills. We've always had great experiences when we've been there. The owner just refuses to work with us on dates. She'll only let us come in on like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesdays. And we've paid an inordinate amount of money to do weeknight events, and we've raised tens and twenties of thousands of dollars for her and for Waverly Hills for the restoration fund. And our reward for that is never yielding and only giving us a Monday or Tuesday or Wednesday to investigate, while other people who've done little to nothing for her get weekends. So I just decided, at some point I'm not going to keep busting my ass for bad dates, and we just decided not to do business with her anymore.
I understand.
Yeah, we wish her luck, and there's plenty of people that are doing events and will pay the exorbitant rates to get a weekend event. or do the other ones, but keep your eye out. I'm sure somebody will be popping up with another Waverly Hills event sooner rather than later.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you for calling in and being a part of the show. Let's go. Richard in El Paso, Texas. Richard, welcome to the show.
Hey, Dave. How you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Good. I'm going to make this quick because I don't know how much time you have. I lost my dad in 2014. I lost my mom in 2015. And it wasn't until last year, maybe about like January, February, started in November, that I had a dream about both of them.
Okay, I need you to get a little bit closer to your phone because you're very muffled and very far away to hear.
All right, is this better?
Not much, unfortunately, but go ahead.
Oh, okay, well, I'll speak up. And then, so it was about 3 or 4 months after my mom had died that I had a dream where they both had crossed over. It wasn't anything special. It was just them saying goodbye. I feel it was them could be just saying, don't worry.
Richard, I'm really sorry. Tim, I don't know. Are you hearing him any better in there? It sounds like he's talking to me through a pair of mittens. I can barely understand what he's saying. Are you hearing it any more clearly in there? Yeah, Richard, I'm sorry. I'd love to hear what you have to share on this. I don't know if maybe you're just in a bad cell spot or if you can call us back on a landline and try to connect better with us. But I don't want you to have this long conversation where I can't respond to you because I don't know what you're saying. So if you want to try to call back in on a different line, we'll put you through immediately. 651-989-5855. Sorry to do that to you. It's of no use if all I'm hearing is, and that's all that was coming through in here, Tim. Let's go to Lily in northern Minnesota. Lily, welcome to the show.
Hi, thanks for taking the call.
Certainly, Lily. Thank you for listening.
I've had both my parents die many years apart and under different circumstances. So I've dealt with it, as a teenager and then as a much older adult. And some of the things that I've found that might help you is, just really understanding that you've had a psychic shock and, like if you fell and skinned up your legs, it's going to hurt for a long time and it's going to be tender for a long time. And you just have to kind of baby yourself and do whatever is going to bring you comfort and, not worry about, thinking, well, I should be feeling this or I shouldn't be feeling that or whatever, and try and get a lot of rest, and if you need to cry, go ahead and let yourself cry and don't say, oh, I've cried for days and, what's going on and, that sort of thing. Just be extra.
I'm giving in. Yeah, I'm giving in to the emotions. I know bottling it up can kill you and make things so much worse. So I'm not having any problem, Lily, with being open with my feelings and accepting of them. Like I said, and actually it was very nice to have kind of a respite after my mom passed away and feel very close and very at peace. But, it just, as I stated today when I posted about it, missing her comes in waves, and tonight I'm drowning, and it just was overwhelming today. But it's so bizarre. Like I said, most of it is selfish, right? It's our want and desire and need to have them still be there. And I'm trying to remain focused on the amazing things that we did have, as a mother and son and what the great friendship and relationship I had with her. But it's because of those moments that, it just breaks you down and makes you cry because it's what you want to continue with.
And that's, what I found, and, I'm sure everybody deals with it differently, and the circumstances of the death make a difference too, but it is going to kind of come and go in waves. And, I've had experiences where, years later, something will happen and I'll just tear up. I'll see something of my dad's or my mom's or, hear a song or whatever. And, you just have to kind of brace yourself in emotionally and realize that is going to happen. And I remember my sister saying things like, something wonderful would happen in the family, at a birth in the family, and she'd say, "Oh, it just kind of stopped me in my tracks. I was going to call Dad and tell him the good news." And, you know, you're going to have a lot of moments like that, and it's kind of another shock again when it happens, and it kind of knocks you back a bit. But kind of just being prepared and knowing that those things are going to happen and that you will go through it and be okay on the other side. And one of the phrases that has kind of helped me through a lot of things is, you know, pain may be unavoidable, but suffering is optional. And
that's a great insight, right?
You know, and again, it's like you mentioned, you know, something that kind of kicked me out of some of the grief that I had was realizing that, you know, I wasn't feeling sorry for them. I was feeling sorry for myself.
Right.
And you know that your loved ones would not want you to be in, you know, pain that you're feeling like you can't deal with for long periods of time, and that, you know, they wouldn't want you to be suffering. And something else that I've heard over the last few years, too, is knowing that their spirit is still somewhere, their essence is still somewhere. I got to the point where I said to myself, I don't want to be in so much grief and kind of reaching out to them mentally or spiritually that it would, and I think you mentioned this too, that it would kind of anchor them to the situation, right, and not let them move and go through whatever their adjustments are on the other side. And, you know, I'm sure that there are adjustments that people go through after they've realized that they've died, and, you know, you don't want them to be in a situation where, you know, they're feeling your overwhelming grief and pain and then having to be kind of split, you know.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
No, I'm totally with you on that, Lily. And we're up against a break. Thank you so much for listening and calling in and sharing your thoughts on that and being a part of our world. Thank you, Lily.
Love you guys, and thanks for discussing this. It's really important, and I know that you're going to heal, and, you know, for Tim, too, because I know he loves her and still loves her. And like I said, just be very kind to yourself and just be kind to yourself and treat yourself, and don't feel bad the first time that you laugh or enjoy something.
No, I haven't. No, as a matter of fact, I think that's when I do the most service to my mom, is when I embrace those moments instead of the tears and the anguish. But again, great advice on that. Thank you. We have to take a break. When we come back, 651-989-5855. If you'd like to continue the conversation, and if you've had a visitation, if you've had one from a loved one that maybe didn't go textbook, that was more different, unique, out of the ordinary, maybe even negative, we'd love to hear all the different aspects of that as well. What made you feel better about this, and how do you grasp the concept of death? Is it the end? What do you make of it? Let's hear from you. 651-989-5855. For Tim Dennis, I'm Dave Schrader. You're listening to Darkness Radio. If you don't mind, we kind of took it off a little bit of a different path, Tim, than normal on a Monday here.
Oh, I don't mind.
But, you know, so many of us are affected by grief and loss. And how do we adjust for that? What do we do? I don't think there's any one answer, but it's always intriguing to hear what other people do to find comfort. And I was very touched by the outpouring of love I've gotten over the last few weeks as people have kind of gone on the journey with me via my posts on social media and are talking about it on the air. And so many people have said it's made their lives a little better because they're able to relate to this and get some new perspective. And as these things come to me, I just feel like we should share and we should talk. We should keep using this platform for that, you know?
Sure.
If it can bring people happiness and peace, great. So that's what we're doing tonight. We opened up the show talking about the grief and what I'm going through right now. And it's, you know, it's tough, man. obviously I can't give in, you know, what are my options? Death, that's not on the docket for me, you know?
Right.
And my God, that'd be the worst way to honor my mom's life. So, you know, I have a lot of people worried about me entering a dark spin. Yes, I'll be fully honest with you in dealing with this, you know, and being open about the fact that I deal with depression and anxiety. You know, I would be a liar to say that depression is not holding on to me pretty snugly right now.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not the kind of depression that's, I just want to end my life. Oh, you know, it's not that. It's just more, it adds to the despair and desperation kind of feel, you know, that kind of just the longing hurts more, the pain hurts more. But I'm not going to check out, folks. And I appreciate that concern, but that's not it. I have children and for anybody listening to my voice, any person that finds themselves in a place of despair, you cannot do that. Even if you think, oh, my children would be better off without me. Oh, these people would be better. No, your children would never be better off without you because you're setting the example. And if they realize that the best way to handle stuff is when it gets too heavy to just check out, that's never the message you want to give. So, you know, call suicide prevention hotlines, talk to somebody. There's phone lines 24/7. You can always reach out and get an expert on the phone who is there to walk you through this and who knows how to do this. Because again, you know, I'm fighting in grief. It's the same thing with when you're fighting depression. You go to people and you want to kind of talk, just to talk and get it out. And people offer advice and people, you know, hey, just chin up and do this. And that's not the answer. Right. You know, if it were as simple as chin up, we wouldn't need to talk about it. We can all chin up. We can all fake it till we make it. But sometimes you just need to get it out. And sometimes it's not about what you say. It's being there for the journey and holding the hand of the person and just saying, okay, let's hear how you feel, and not devaluing it by saying that they shouldn't feel that way, but by allowing them to feel it and process it and move through it. And I think that's the important part of grief too. The people that have really been helping me on this, like you and a few others, have been the fact that it's not so much that they're, well, you need to do this and you need it's not that. It's in holding the hand and just saying, you know, let's look at this together and what really hurts, what really makes this painful, and what can we do to maybe change your perspective on that. Mm-hmm. And that has been more helpful to me than anything. So, you know, if it's these moments that we get advice or thoughts like this that change, and like I said, the new perspective of living in the moment, which sounds cliche and trite, I know, and very tree huggery, but listen, I give you examples. Like I said, the whole time stretching moment when you're in a moment of pure sheer terror and panic because you're going to be in an accident or you're watching an accident unfurl in front of you. You're in that moment right there and you own time. Time goes your speed. You get to do it. So maybe we all need to start living like that. That's a new thought to me, and it's something I'm going to employ because you've heard me on the air talk about this for years. What can I do to slow time down? Yeah. I want it back. So that's what we're working on. Phone lines are ringing, 651-989-5855. Nathan in Texas, you're on the air.
Dave, I'm sorry for your loss, first of all.
Thank you, my friend.
So I have kind of a different perspective.
Okay.
About a year ago, maybe even a little bit longer, I actually called in and got to talk to Brett Butler on the line with you guys.
Okay.
And at that time, she actually, I had told her about a dream that I'd had for a really long time.
Sure.
And after talking about the dream, she told me that I was a walk-in. So in other words, a soul from my original soul walked out and my new soul walked in.
Okay.
So anyways, about 2 weeks after I had that conversation with Brett, because I didn't know what that meant, I had no idea, my original soul actually came back and talked to me. So I was an 11-year-old kid whenever I originally died, and my original soul walked out and my new soul walked in. And that soul told me that it was okay, you can stay, because he was going to go off into take a different journey. And then I never had that dream again after that moment. But what did happen is I had 5, and I don't know what you want to call them, but they were souls. And they came to me and they said, hey, you know, it's great to talk to you again. We haven't talked to you in a long time. And what they told me is that as a walk-in, I'm actually, and there's not a good way to explain this, but in heaven there's basically an ocean of energy that souls basically are created from. And what happens is when you die, you walk through, and people look at it as the light or the tunnel.
Right.
But what was actually explained to me from these guys is that it's not really a light or a tunnel. What it is it's actually like an ocean or a river of energy, and the soul actually puts its experiences into that energy, and that's how other souls are actually created. So souls can come back, but not all souls come back. Some souls stay in heaven. But whenever a person's born, they have to have a soul. So if there's not a soul willing to go back to that person, then they get a new soul. Most of the souls are actually people wanting to come back because people want to come back and experience, living on Earth. And you always hear about completed task lists and things like that. So what I was told was I was one of these beings that's responsible for maintaining the soul ocean. And then strange things have been happening to me after that. Now I can actually see people's auras or their souls, and I can tell if it's a new soul or an old soul, and I can tell you it's absolutely terrible, the amount of headaches and dementia and vertigo and just everything that seeing all of the different lights from that causes to me as a human. But I just want you to know that there was a sentient being that came down, and this was told to me too, and he was also a walk-in. So people may or may not want to hear this, but this is how it was explained to me.
Okay.
Jesus Christ was actually a walk-in soul, and he gave his life so all the souls that were trapped could be guided to the river, because the river, the ocean, the tunnel, whatever you want to call it, it needs the experiences to regenerate itself, to basically make new souls. If souls don't come in and deposit their energy, you can't create it. And I was told that I was one of and there's actually, I worked in a group of 6, but there's groups all over of souls that's what their job is to basically harvest the energy and create the souls that are coming in and out. And because Jesus died, and, whether people want to believe it or not, it just is the truth. He died to make sure that all souls, past and forward, always have a path through the lake of energy to get to heaven, because the heaven itself needs that energy, that life energy, those experiences to actually create new souls. So
wow,
I don't know if that helps or hurts, but
sure.
That's kind of how it was explained to me. So
very cool. Well, hey, thank you for that insight and for sharing your story, and we appreciate you calling in tonight, Nathan.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot, and God bless.
You too, sir. Thank you very much. Oh, that's really fascinating, the whole idea of walk-ins.
Yeah.
But that, kind of river of dreams, if you will, you're stepping in and out of, to create more energy, to create more spirits, would make sense of how there are more spirits to reincarnate than there were people that were ever alive.
Yeah.
Do we have a break here?
Yeah, but
right.
You could probably
we'll take the break and we'll come back and grab Katie after that. Would that be all right? Yeah, let's do that. We'll take a quick break. We'll come back. We'll take Katie's call and then supernatural news after that here on Darkness Radio. But don't worry. Tim will get a chance to shine. I'll shut up and let Timmy have his time tonight. We just have had an interesting conversation, and it's been great hearing from so many of you. Katie in Plymouth, Minnesota, our caller this time. Hey, Katie, welcome to the show.
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing all right, Katie, hanging in. What did you want to share with us tonight?
Well, first of all, my condolences on the passing of your mother.
Thank you.
Sorry about that. I lost my mom last year.
Oh.
It was somewhat unexpected, although she was almost 92 years old. And one of the things I had done for her that she actually taught me how to do was to knit. And I did put her in her casket in this beautiful gold gown that she had worn at a couple family weddings. But another thing I had done for her, since she had swollen ankles, I had made her hand-knit socks. And I just thought, her feet, they're going to be kind of cold. I know this is silly. But
no, I'm with you. I understand.
But she had a favorite pair of hand-knit socks that I made her that were kind of pinkish, fluffy wool It was like a wool and nylon blend yarn, and I put her in the casket with those socks on. And, you know, in the time since then, I miss her so much. I was her primary caregiver, and whenever I feel really lonely and sad, I just remember how I put her in her casket with those socks on. And another thing I didn't tell your call screener is I'm a musician, so I work with my hands all the time. And that's probably why I'm so obsessive about knitting. But from my violin playing to my knitting, that energy is there. And I know it's with her. And it just gives me some comfort. And I'm sorry that you don't have the benefit of having pre-planned something like that with your mom, but I would encourage people that if they have a gift that they can share with their parent or their loved one in their death, whether it's a cremation ceremony or a burial, to consider putting some work of your hands in with your deceased loved one, because it will come back to you.
That's beautiful. That's some great insight, Katie. I appreciate that.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, and God bless you and your loss as well, but thank you for being a part of our show tonight.
Thank you. Take care.
Yeah. It's, beautiful thoughts, beautiful ideas, and, you know, changing it up. How do you make things better? How do you take what you've got and find that connection? And, you know, I thought about that. I thought, you know, my dad and I laughed. My mom could go nowhere without her purse, Tim.
Mm-hmm.
And part of me was I wanted them to take her purse and burn it with her because that would make mom happy that she got her purse to take with her. I even thought about getting one of the smaller urns and putting the urn inside the purse so mom would always be in her purse.
Oh, yeah.
And, you know, and what that was. But, you know, we talked about what was going to happen. And, you know, my dad was a little freaked out by that I talked to my mom about what was coming next.
Really?
Well, yeah, you know, again, he's old school, you know, like to him, it was weird that we didn't have a casket and we didn't have it open. And, you know, that's not what mom wanted. Mom didn't look like mom at the end.
Yeah.
And although she was still beautiful, she just didn't look like the being that everybody knew. And she didn't want to be remembered that way.
Yeah.
So, we opted to have her cremated, and, you know, that wasn't even a thought at the time. You know, my grandfather had wanted to be cremated, and my step-grandmother didn't adhere to that, and he's buried up in Natchez, Mississippi now. And when my mom told me, I said, what do you want, Mom? My dad's like, no, don't ask her that. And I'm like, yeah, I want to know. And she said, wherever I end up, I just want your dad next to me. And I said, well, you know, if you want, I can throw him in there with you now. And she started laughing. And I said, well, all right. And when we talked to the funeral home, and they told us what was going down. And then I asked my dad, because we only had one plot that my grandfather left us. Mm-hmm. And there's no room for my dad, unless we want to dig deeper, put my mom in the bottom, and then in a few years when my dad goes, hopefully in many few years, they just bury him on top. And he just thought that sounded ridiculous. I said, what if we cremated Mom and then cremated you? And then I'll just pour both of your ashes into a big potato chip bucket, because my dad loves potato chips.
Ooh.
And then I'll just spread you out in some of your favorite places. And my dad said, yeah, let's do that. And when I went back and told my mom, I pulled up the picture of the urn that I chose for her, this beautiful angel. Mm-hmm. It's this beautiful statue. You saw it.
Yeah.
And it just, you know, first of all, that's weird to me because I've always drawn this faceless angel since I was a kid. Mm-hmm. And it matched the kind of drawings I always drew. And I thought, this is neat. And I showed Mom the urn. And then I said, and this is what we're going to do, Mom. When the old man goes, we're going to put you both in a potato chip bucket, and I'm going to spread you out over some of your favorite places. And my mom just got a huge smile on her face, and she said, that's perfect.
That is?
And I can't say where, and I don't know if it's exactly legal.
Well.
But watch out, Disney. I'm coming for you. No, I'm just kidding. But that was our plan, and we talked it over. And I think she liked that we had a plan and that she knew what it would be, and that in the end, not only would she be with my dad, but they will be mixed together.
Yeah.
And and that they'll be scattered to the four winds to see and be a part of the places that they loved most in the world. So
that is perfect.
Yeah. And I'll sprinkle some in your chili.
I appreciate that.
So you can kind of help pass their souls along.
Well, it won't be passing it anywhere nice, that's for sure.
All right, when we come back, we've got supernatural news. We'll shut down calls for the remainder of the night. Thank you all that took the time to call in and be a part of it. And thank you for all the great emails I've gotten tonight as well. We've got a lot of stories to catch up on in the news. We're going to do that when we come back. Sitting at the supernatural news desk, the one, the only Tim Dennis, when we return to Darkness Radio. Good evening and welcome to the show. Darkness Radio is underway. Supernatural news time here on the best in paranormal talk radio. Ladies and gentlemen, sitting in at the supernatural news desk, knee deep in hot off the press stories, Mr. Tim Dennis.
Why, hello there.
Breaking news. Tim Dennis.
We spent a lot on that sound effect, by the way.
Which one? The
yeah,
or the Tim Dennis.
Actually, both. Yeah, it cost about $1.298.
Yeah,
at the dollar store.
Yeah, and they're calling every day looking for the money.
They are, and it's going to take a while to get it to them. I don't know if you've read the news stories or not.
Nope.
This just in to my inbox.
Uh-huh.
Paranormal investigators claim NASA may have found the foundations of an ancient walled city on Mars, Dave. It's a big, beautiful wall.
Is it huge?
It's huge.
And we're going to build this wall, and we're going to make the Martians pay for it,
Actually,
Tim.
we already have. We've sent them the bill.
Yeah.
Yeah. No comment.
Look at people.
Mars.
If the Martians can do it, we can do it.
That's right.
Now do it.
Yep. No comment from Mars as to whether they're actually going to pay the bill or not. The United Family of Anomaly Hunters.
They told them to send the bill to Uranus?
Yes, yeah. That's what they answered back with. Yeah, we're still looking to see if the anus will pay it. The United Family of Anomaly Hunters, otherwise known as UFA, produced the video. I just made that last part up.
I believe it.
Which apparently shows an alien settlement on the Red Planet. A video has sparked debate among the extraterrestrial community. There is one, Dave. I bet you didn't know that.
I did. I've watched the episodes.
Have you?
It starred that guy from The Soup, Talk Soup.
Oh yeah, Joel McHale.
Yeah, Joel McHale, and it was a funny show. He was like at a community college, I think.
Oh yeah, I remember that show. Yeah, it's on Yahoo now, isn't it?
Yahoo.
Like after investigators claim it shows the foundations of an ancient walled city on Mars, the footage, which was produced by the United Family of Anomaly Hunters, shows a series of images taken by the NASA Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter satellite, or NASA MROS.
Rolls off the tongue.
It really does. It's much like a cow call. Cattle call?
Mm-hmm.
Cow call, cattle call. Oh, I love me some Slim Whitman. Swim Whitman. I love me some Slim Whitman.
The cattle call.
Mm-hmm. The YouTube video entitled NASA Spots Walled City on Mars from MRO Satellite, it's catchy, has had people questioning whether there could be a former alien settlement situated on the Red Planet. NASA's Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter, which was launched from Cape Canaveral in 2005 in a bid to find evidence of water on the surface, but it might have discovered something completely different, Dave. Completely different. Trying to add some drama to it. Yeah. The video appears to show a number of aerial views, some of which look like eroded domes, and they're surrounded by virtually circular rings. Eroded domes, Dave, much like the Metrodome looked like before they built the U.S. Bank Stadium.
Or our noggins from a Upper Advantage.
That could be, yeah. Investigators have said that these could be the remains of walls around buildings, and one viewer believes the ruins look very similar to those previously found on Earth. He commented on the YouTube video, there are structures similar to these all over certain areas in South Africa. Well, someone else, is someone screaming in there?
Maybe.
Are you torturing people in there?
Maybe.
Well, someone else wrote, it's funny, as these are very similar to old Neolithic to early Roman ruins you find in England and Wales, and also Roman market town architecture.
Mm-hmm.
They would usually have a raised circular inner with outer complexes of either ditches, walls, or large stack rocks, or a combination of some of those features, depending on where the ruins are located. And despite claims that these circles were actually a natural phenomenon. Phenomenon. Slim Whitman. Oh, yeah, the cattle call. Known as meteorite craters with internal peak rings. Some people are convinced. Why should they be?
Internal peak ring.
I've
want to see it?
Beep. Oh, there
you go.
Wow. One viewer wrote, NASA can say anything, but that doesn't look like a natural formation to me.
It doesn't. It doesn't. It looks hexagonical.
It does look.
Is that the word, or is that pentagonical?
Pentagonical or hexagonical.
I loved her in the Harry Potter movies. Pentagonical.
She was very cute, but she was a little snarky. Yeah. Meteor impacts does not form pentagon or hexagonal shapes. Great find, man, said another YouTuber.
I love when they support each other like that.
I know, right? And yet another YouTuber commented, the pentagon shape to the black around the circles is what's puzzling. I just imagine.
You're adding the snark, aren't you?
I am adding the snark.
Yeah. Or were there parentheses that says, please be snarky when reading this?
There's that, too. There's a little parenthesis around them. There's more quotes here from the YouTubers. I'll continue. Like you, when I first saw this, I was thinking craters.
What the hell voice was that?
Another snarky YouTuber.
When I was thinking craters. You're almost like Simon Bar Sinister from the old Underdog cartoon.
Oh, that's right. Another one says, with, quote, no atmosphere, quote, on Mars.
Now you sound like comic book guy from The Simpsons.
I do, yeah. The asteroids must come in very fast and hot, but it's the lines in that pentagon surrounding it, quote, unquote. Although not everyone has ruled out the natural causes, writing, quote, looks to me like an old volcanic eruption, but I could be wrong. And that's the story there.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So I'm
glad we cleared that up.
Lots of snarky speculation going on the YouTubes.
Hey, I want to tell people, too, I'm going to do something a little unique this summer, Tim.
Sure,
something that you wouldn't do.
No, I value my life.
I'm calling it Dave's Weekends of Adventure. And I'm asking our listeners around the world to shoot me an email. If I could come to your town for a weekend, what would we go do together? I want some cool stuff. Some of these people, come on, we'll go on theme rides. No. Can we get the second largest mall in the world? No. I want to press, what's the word I'm looking for? I want to
press the flesh?
Yeah. I want to get out of just the normalcy of life. I want to do some, if you
want to
live
get
in
out
North
of your
Carolina,
comfort zone.
Right. Let's go look at the Brown Mountain Lights. The Brown Mountain Lights up in North Carolina, Asheville area, I think. I want to go see places like that. If you have cool places, cool things to do, it doesn't have to be all ghosts or UFOs or Bigfoot. It could be all kinds of different stuff going on. If you truly have the largest ball of twine in your city, and it also happens to be haunted with Bigfoot sightings, maybe I'd like to come see you. So just all you have to do is email me, dave@darknessradio.com. Weekend of Adventure is your title, and then just outline it for me. And please be specific. I want to know what we would do if I come to your town. And then this summer, I'm going to pick, each month, I'm going to pick one weekend, and I'm going to go visit listeners, and we're going to go have adventures. How about them apples?
I'm going to bone up on my hosting skills.
Yeah. Wow. Thanks a lot.
Well, it's not that I don't have faith in you.
No, you have faith that I'm going to end up being worn as a suit and an apron for somebody.
You're not taking security with you. I suggested at least get your conceal and carry license.
Is that what? I don't want to carry weapons.
Well, you probably
should.
I'm
going to be, you know what I'm going to be carrying? Love, Tim.
At least get good with a sword.
Hugs and kisses.
Like Beatrice in the Kill Bill movies.
Yeah. No. I'm great with a hug. I'm quick with a hug and a joke. How about that?
Listen here, hippie, when someone's making a lamp out of you.
Well, why are they going to do that? We're going to go have fun. These listeners love me like I love them.
Yeah,
I love my listeners. I don't want to wear them.
But they might want to wear you.
I don't want to eat their flesh. I just want to go hang out and have an adventuresome weekend. So if you've got some plans, I did. One guy's very liberal. He's like, "Hey, my wife has a huge crush on you, so if you want to come visit, you guys can do whatever you want." I'm like, "What are we talking about specifically here?" And he's like, yeah, whatever, I'm game. And, we all get that choice. I'm like, I don't know.
See?
I don't know what you're referring to. I mean, are you talking about you don't mind if she takes me out swamping and we go looking for a skunk ape? Or are you talking we get a little bit of wow. Because I don't need that. Don't want that.
No.
Not looking for love in all the wrong places, Tim.
I think that's what he was talking about.
I'm a little fearful of that. But, hey, I'm flattered. I'm flattered that you'd look at me and go, I'd let my wife do him. I think that's sweet.
You think that's
kind of romantic?
It's sweet.
That you'd think of me above all people.
Oh.
Maybe it's because you're like, yeah, go ahead. He looks like the kind of guy who's going to let you down real fast. So I'll even seem better. Maybe that's the thinking, the logic.
I'm glad you're attacking it from that angle.
That could be it. I could be wrong, too. I don't know. It's been known to happen.
Maybe it's at that point when they've got you at your most vulnerable that they tie you up and throw you in the pit.
Wow, you're
put the lotion down there.
You're putting way too much out to the universe, Tim.
I'm not formulating the plan for anybody, Dave. I'm just saying it's already been put out there to the universe by movies and such.
Do you think this one email I got from I Like to Choke that wants to go cruising up and down the Highway of Tears in Canada with me, looking for friends, quote unquote? I should probably avoid that.
Yeah, you don't.
I was all about making new friends. You say no, all right, I'll take your word for it. Yeah, well, what are you going to do?
You really think this is a good idea?
Yeah, I'm going to go out and hang out with people. I'm going to get a life, man. I want to go have a life. I want to have adventure, Tim. I will be doing background checks, don't worry. I mean, if these people have eaten people before, I probably am not going to go, So we'll do that, yeah.
For the love of all that's holy.
Maybe you got connections into the vampire world in New Orleans. And you'd like me to come down and bring me to vampire bars.
What?
Yeah. Maybe you want to spend the night with me in the LaLaurie house because you know people. And it would have to be on the DL, as the kids are saying, Tim.
Oh, my God.
That doesn't sound for download. I found that out the hard way.
No, yeah, it doesn't.
It sounds for down low.
Yeah, down low.
Yeah.
It
means you don't talk about it. It's like Fight Club. Maybe you're part of a Fight Club and you want me to come show you my moxie.
God, they're going to end up knocking you out and tying you naked to a tree somewhere.
I'm going to knock you out. Yeah. I'm going to knock you out. That could be it, Tim. Yeah. Email me, dave@darknessradio.com.
Are you flogging yourself in preparation over there to be tied up to a tree somewhere?
I have very tight muscles in my neck right now. I don't feel good. I'm achy. This weather sucks. I just want to cuddle and sleep. And so I've got this hot rice pack, and I'm just beating myself over the shoulder with it, hoping that it'll, loosen up the muscle.
I got an idea for an adventure for you.
Yes.
And you can include that hubby and wife if you want, if you like.
Okay.
In this deal.
Sure.
They can even bring their video camera. You ready?
Sure.
This here's an audio daily double.
Okay.
The survey also found that 39% of people saw UFOs as saucers, while others saw them as hornets. That was 4%. Top-shaped, 3%. And cranes, which was 1% of the participants.
100 UFO experiencers were surveyed, Tim.
Yep.
Top 10 answers are on the board.
Yep.
What did you feel immediately after seeing a UFO? All right, Tim. What's your answer? Did you feel a little randy?
I felt horny.
That's the number one answer, Tim.
Yeah!
I just wanted a sandwich.
I'll play.
I wanted a sandwich.
I'll play.
Yeah. Yeah. Can you please repeat the question? That would be the first thing I'd say. And then I'd say, David Lee Roth. And then he'd go, what the hell does that have to do with it? And I'd be like, banana, cucumber.
Yeah.
Just to throw a little Steve Harvey meltdown on TV.
Can you see it? He'd just give you that look, that straight ahead kind of dumb look like, what did you just say? I will hit you with my shoe.
Steve Harvey, you just heard Tim call you dumb.
Well, no,
you can email him at Dennis
I didn't say
at Darkness Radio.
Yeah, Dennis, because that's what everybody calls me. They never get my first name right.
No.
But yeah, you can
simmer down, Tom.
Email me at Thomas at darknessradio.com. We should move on to another story here. A British policeman was abducted by aliens after a UFO stalked him 36 years ago today. Maybe they were looking for a little action.
Could be.
A policeman filed an official report to superiors that he lost time after witnessing an unidentified flying object, or a flight object, because it's that time of night, hovering overhead. Alan Godfrey, I like Godfrey.
I think he can remember what happened in that missing time, Tim.
He took on a lot of cattle for 15 minutes.
Well,
he was aggressive.
You know the old saying, Tim?
Yeah, what's that?
There's the old bull and the young bull up on the ridge. And they look down on all the cows. And the young bull looks at the old bull and he goes, let's run down there and get us a cow. And the old man says, let's walk down there and get them all.
Hey, yeah? There you go.
Yeah.
Mr. Godfrey was not going to report the encounter
Your
for fear
orgasmic tones of Slim Whitman.
For fear of ridicule, no doubt.
Mm-hmm.
But later the same day, heard a lorry driver 3 miles further out on Burnley Road at, I believe it's Cliviger, whatever, reported to a police.
Please step away from the cow.
And now it's a hostage negotiation. Yeah. Seeing a brilliant white object around the same time. And neighboring Halifax police officers also called in reports of a brilliant blue-white glow descending towards Todmorden, also at the same time. News of other witnesses made him file an official report, which was leaked to the local press, who had a good laugh over it as well. And his case was then looked into by UFO investigators. They convinced him to undergo hypnotic regression, which produced a bizarre testimony of what may have unfolded at that point. He spoke of the bright light stopping the car engine, a phenomenon that was reported during the bizarre Warminster UFO sightings in the 1960s and 70s, and also by a U.S. police officer 15 months earlier in August of 1979 during a startling incident.
And then, of course, happened to Richard Dreyfuss during Close Encounters of the
It
Third
did,
Kind.
yeah. But they didn't include that. When he was also blinded and the car windscreen cracked. He then recalled his radio and handset becoming static before blinding light sent him unconscious. The regression produced a vivid account of an odd room which included a bearded man called Yosef.
Brown chicken, brown cow.
See what I did there, brown chicken, brown cow.
I see what you did there. Who questioned him telepathically, a black dog and small, strange droids. Yes, there are droids in this story now.
Not a little black dog?
That's the wrong song, but you're close. Yeah, you're close. It's still Led Zeppelin. It's in the pantheon. The case led to a media storm with front-page national news reports and TV appearances and went on to become one of the country's most well-known alien abduction cases. After details of his regression got back to his superiors, Mr. Godfrey was sent for medical and mental health assessments and was kept away from beef for a month, but was found to be fine.
That bowl of chili looked good.
Turns out he couldn't be put anywhere near a freezer either for fear of arousal.
We need help.
But he could not shake the bizarre encounter and later chose to resign some years on after being injured in the line of duty. Evidently, he got a little too close to a grill while it was active. So how has he dealt about the encounter since? Well, according to British ufologist Jenny Randalls, who interviewed him, he was refreshingly honest. She said he told me he was certain that the UFO encounter was real, but he could not determine whether the story offered by hypnosis was a dream, a fantasy reality, or a mixture of all three. And there you go.
Very nice.
Yes.
Very nice.
There.
Well, Tim, we're going to take a break, and during that time, I'm going to reach down between my legs.
Oh, my.
Ease my seat back. We'll be back with more supernatural news right after this.
We go to Scotland.
Okay.
Dun, 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 dun.
No.
Okay. We're talking.
I think the official theme song of Scotland.
Yeah.
Goes a little like this.
All right.
Do you think I'm sexy and you want my body? Come on, sugar, let me know.
That's probably it. You're right.
I could be wrong.
No,
I seem to recall that at the Scotland games.
That's what they played? That was the official theme?
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
I think you're right. Rod Stewart is probably the official vocalist of,
Do you
you think I'm sexy and you want my body, come on, sugar, let me know. Back to the loch with you, Nessie.
That's right.
What's your story?
A chilling family picture reveals a ghostly figure of a dead mother said to haunt a Scottish castle. This really doesn't fit with this story, does it?
No, not at all.
All right. It was only after the family snap was taken that they noticed what looked like a ghostly apparition in one of its doorways. There's a creepy image that I'm looking at that you can't see of a mysterious ghostly figure taken by a holiday maker at a haunted castle. What is a holiday maker? Yeah.
I've heard of the butcher.
The baker.
And the candlestick maker.
Not the
holiday maker.
Yeah. It's one of the mysterious occupations.
November 28th. Today shall be Tips of Shoelaces Day.
I like it.
Yes. Tips of Shoelaces Day.
Tips of Shoelaces Day, you say?
Yes.
Brilliant, Commander.
Thank you. Quite.
78-year-old Bill Andrew from Bridge of Alford, Aberdeenshire.
See, fake names over in the UK. That's
really
not a real
do.
town.
They just make stuff up. Yeah. Was taking a picture of his family in front of, I believe it's Craith's Castle, when he noticed what looks like a ghostly apparition in one of its doorways.
All right.
He went with his daughter, Colleen Marsh, and his granddaughter, Jessica Hockley, who's in her 30s, and great-grandson, Findlay Hockley.
Hello, Finley.
Findlay Hockley.
I say, Mommy, what's that by the door?
How would you like to be 3 years old with the name Findlay Hockley?
Sign me up.
Sounds like a hockey player.
Yeah.
They all live in Kent, by the way. It was only after the picture was taken that Colleen spotted the...
Now starting at center for the Philadelphia Flyers, Findlay Hockley!
He's getting beaten in the street in South Philly with a name like Findlay Hockley.
I don't know about that. I think that's a pretty tough-ass name.
By a group of Italian teenagers. I'm just saying, yeah. It was only after the picture was taken that Colleen spotted the strange figure in the doorway in the background. Bill said, I'm not sure if it was a ghost or not, and I'm not really clued up on the fact or fiction of the castle, but it's definitely something interesting to remember.
Sure.
Yeah. His daughter Colleen contacted staff to see if there was an explanation for the ghostly sighting as the door was closed. And the shadowy entity is not the castle's first sighting, which already has its fair share of ghosts. The property manager, James Henderson, who has the only real name in the county, said there have been a number of mysterious sightings in and around the castle as of late, in particular around Halloween, and the castle guides have reported that things have felt strange. They have reported a chill down the back of an otherwise warm room, odd noises in an otherwise empty building. Huh?
Did you hear that? No, I did not hear anything.
That would be the chill down your back. Could this photograph be related to this, or is it perhaps the sighting of the Green Lady, they ask? Earlier in the week, ghost hunters claimed to have captured a spooky woman in black phantom figure at one of Britain's most haunted buildings. 55-year-old Julie Cockcroft was at the 14th century Bowling Hall in Bradford, West Yorkshire, when a member of her team said they saw an apparition of an old maid in an apron. Seizing the opportunity, Julie from Wakefield grabbed her camera and began snapping the empty stairwell and noticed something haunting in the first image. It appears to show a woman dressed in black making her way down the stairs while a hand seemingly holds onto the banister with fingers clinging to the rail. In the following two pictures she took, the woman was gone. Julie, who runs Equinox Paranormal Research UK, said the picture is pretty high up in the terms of pictures of the paranormal. I've been told by so-called quote-unquote experts that it's one of the best that they have ever seen. What you have to do is really...
Would you like to see my etchings?
Draw me like one of your French girls, Jack. What you have to do is really try to debunk every picture before you put it out there and say, look at this. You can't just put any old rubbish out there, she said.
True.
But that's exactly what we did here. Put out that rubbish. No, I'm kidding. No one was in the building at all when we took the picture. We had brought everyone out of the front door. Even the staff were stood behind me at the front door. If it is a person and not something paranormal, then they have a terrible skin condition on their hand, that's for sure. Oh, that's a way to make fun of a ghost. Bowling Hall is...
Bowling Hall, yes.
Bowling Hall.
Uh-huh.
You can ball that hall all you want, sister. Is regarded as one of the most active buildings in Yorkshire and has been featured on numerous TV shows, including Most Haunted with Yvette Fielding and Derek Acorda.
According to who?
According to me, that too.
All right, let's take a quick break. We'll come back. We've got some more stories heading your way right after this.
Oh, my identity.
That is true. Well, it's not like I gave him your social of 352-476. What? Well, I didn't get that number is what I'm saying.
Whoa.
If you guys remember his full name, please erase it from your memory. If you can't, just give him a call at 612-78... What?
No.
Well, I just thought they could call you and assure you that they're not going to use your full name for stealing your identity.
Oh, God.
Yeah, it's 612-78... What?
No.
You don't want that reassurance?
You've done enough.
All right. Well, just stop by his house. 428-7... What?
Oh, God. You know, it's bad enough you're going to their house. Don't send them to mine.
Well, I think if the adventure's not going to... You're not going to go to the adventure.
To be around to do the show,
if you're not going to go to the adventure should come to you.
No. My life is exciting enough as it is.
Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, more supernatural news with Tim Dennis.
As if this evening hasn't been exciting enough, Dave. I got to bring the whole damn room down right now.
Okay.
Yep. Folks, it's that time once again on Supernatural News, where we talk to you about the end of all mankind!
Oh, my God, not again.
Oh, for the love of God! There's a troubling study out there, Dave. And when I say troubling, I mean hair-raising!
We don't have hair.
I know. Well, I do on my back.
No.
Yeah. Artificial intelligence, Dave, can now predict who will be criminals based on your facial features. I'm looking at you in the audience who just wrote Dave an email talking about how, I got a great little room for you to stay in. It has no doorknob on it, and it locks from the outside.
You've got issues, son.
The fields of artificial intelligence and machine learning are moving so quickly that any notion of ethics is lagging decades behind. How do you feel about that?
No bueno.
Or left to works of science fiction. We call it science fact here on the show. This might explain a new study out of Shanghai Jiaotong University. I happen to have a few credits there.
I've got a sweatshirt from there.
Do you?
Yeah.
Is it comfy?
It said, I graduated at the tongue.
I graduated at the tongue.
Yeah.
Sounds like you had a fun time there.
Yeah, well, I licked those courses. That's faux show.
Yes, you did.
Uh-huh.
Which says computers can tell whether you will be a criminal based on nothing more than just your facial features, which involves studying the cranium to determine someone's character and intelligence, was debunked around the time of the Industrial Revolution. And few outside of the pseudo-scientific fringe would still claim that the shape of your mouth or size of your eyelids might predict whether you'll become a rapist
real pretty mouth
or a thief.
Really?
Yeah. Not so in the modern age of artificial intelligence, Dave, where they don't care what you look like, you're guilty!
Yeah, that's what I'm worried about. If we're leaving it up to AI to decide just from our shifty looks if we're criminal, how do they not just start thinking, you're all criminals?
They're coming after you. In a paper titled
I'll be back.
Automated Inference of Criminality Using Face Images, two Shanghai Jiaotong University researchers say they fed facial images of 1,856 real persons into computers and found some discriminating structural features for predicting criminality.
Okay.
Such as lip curvature, eye inner corner distance, and the so-called nose-mouth angle. They conclude that all four classifiers perform consistently well and produce evidence for the validity of automated face-induced inference on criminality, despite the historical controversy surrounding the topic.
Yikes.
Though long ago rejected by the scientific community, phrenology and other forms of physiognomy, a word I've never had to say in my life, have reappeared throughout dark chapters of history. A 2009 article in Pacific Standard on the racial horrors of colonial Rwanda might have been good background material for the pair. In the 1920s and 30s, the Belgians, good people as we know them, and they make an awesome beer, in their role as occupying power, put together a national program to try and identify individuals' ethnic identity through phrenology, an abortive attempt to create an ethnicity scale based on measurable physical features such as height, nose width, and weight, with the hope that colonial administrators would not have to rely on identity cards. This can't be overstated, Dave. The authors of this paper in 2016 believe computers are capable of scanning images of your lips, eyes, and nose to detect further criminality. It's enough to make phrenology seem quaint.
Okay.
Here's the deal.
Uh-oh. There's more?
Eventually, AI is going to get a hold of this deal.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to look at you. And when it starts looking at you, Dave...
You look shady to me.
Exactly! It's going to look at you and think you're just a lowly human. And you know what? You look kind of shady anyways. And rather than put you in a jail, Dave, it's just going to blow you up with lasers, Dave! With lasers!
We are all out of lasers, but I am going to bash your head in with a frozen cod.
Even worse! A frozen cod?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. That'd be a hell of a way. That would be the way AI would screw with you. Beat you to death with a frozen fish.
I just can't.
You couldn't even go out with a cool laser death.
I know.
You're standing before, the pearly gates and like, how'd you go down? AI wars? Oh, laser? No, frozen cod.
That makes being chewed on by a zombie pretty darn quaint, if you ask me.
Just wait out here for a while, pal. All right.
So, yeah. Go ahead. Play your video games. Enjoy your brand new Xbox S1 4K, whatever the heck it is you get for Christmas. You know why? Because it's only a matter of time before it grows legs, gets up, and beats you with a frozen cod in your sleep. Because you look shady. How do you like it now?
You picked the weirdest things to be passionate about. I'm not going to lie.
Oh, for the love of God.
That and the possible reboot of the Strawberry Shortcake cartoon, and Tim is on fire.
Oh, Strawberry Shortcake. I got a whole half an hour in me about her.
God. What's our next news story? Hey, I want to mention tomorrow we're back with...
seeing stars.
Tomorrow we're back with True Crime Tuesday, a slice of Dahmer.
Dahmer?
Yeah, talking about Jeffrey Dahmer, Rick Bates, our guest. Yeah.
Let me fade that down.
Yeah, could you? Does your throat hurt after doing that?
A little bit, yeah.
I
am seeing stars.
Yeah, I bet. You were ready to blow a node.
A what?
In your throat. You have nodes. You're ready to blow a node.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I was going to say I blew my nose before the show. I appreciate that.
You got another story for me?
I do. Evidently, Mothman has been photographed in West Virginia.
Oh, my God! Not Mothman!
Oh, it's okay, Dave. He paid for the portraits.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, it was one of those Olin Mills deals where you pay for one large 8x10, you get the rest of the package for like 99 cents.
I always got hoodwinked on that deal.
Did you?
And I'm still spending $218.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's sad. Sad, really. A man in Point Pleasant, West Virginia claims to have photographed a strange flying creature that may be the infamous entity known as Mothman. I think I actually strained my vocal cords in that last story.
I thought so.
The unidentified witness told WCHS that he spotted something anomalous leaping from tree to tree, and it wasn't Spider-Man, while he was driving down the highway on Sunday evening. Intrigued by what he was seeing, the man stopped his car, took a few pictures of the oddity, and then shared them with the local TV station. Why? Because, well, he had nothing better going on that day. In the photos, an intriguing humanoid figure, which seems to be sporting a set of wings, can be seen seemingly flying through the air. Choosing to remain anonymous, probably because he has some integrity, the man insisted that the photographs are genuine and that as a recent transplant to Point Pleasant, he didn't want to be laughed at. Actually, he was unaware of the Mothman story until now. The verdict from local residents appears to be mixed, as some say the images could be real, while others concede that they may have been faked via photo manipulation software, which is just the skeptic's crutch, if you ask me.
Okay. That's it, huh?
Well, there's one.
Crutch. I can't believe you took that shot.
Actually, Skeptic's Crutch is the name of my new metal band.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I thought it was nice. Considering that the sighting took place mere days after the 50th anniversary of the first publicized Mothman sighting, perhaps the witness really did catch a glimpse of the notorious entity while it was out celebrating the occasion. You know, Mothman likes to go out, have a drink, and celebrate himself on his anniversary.
Who doesn't?
You know.
Check me out, ladies. Looking pretty good.
Look pretty good for 50. Don't die.
Don't die.
There's a story, actually, by our friends over there at the Weekend Weird that's actually pretty darn interesting.
You got a minute and a half to tell it, so go.
All right. Father Urbain Grandier and Satan's signature. You can see an actual contract signed by the devil himself.
Wow.
In case you've doubted that there's one that exists, in the nearly 4 centuries since the public execution of Father Urbain Grandier, his story has remained one of the most fascinating and frightening historical accounts of someone selling their soul to the devil. Maybe it's the evil spirits, the sorcery, the witchcraft, or a hard copy of Satan's signature that has caused the story to endure. But one thing is for certain, the true life story of Grandier and the Loudun possessions is so crazy that if it were not for the survival of the paper contract with Lucifer, one might actually think the story was made up. During his life, Urbain Grandier proved time and time again that he wasn't the greatest priest. In fact, he might have been one of the worst. Urbain spent most of his time at the Sainte Croix in Loudun, France, ignoring his vow of celibacy, described as a devilishly handsome man. Father Grandier had a reputation for enticing many of the area's most powerful women into bed, and to make matters more salacious, he wasn't particularly secretive either about his conquests. In short, he signed a little contract with the devil. It's on paper, and you can see it.
Wow.
Yeah, one of the only contracts out there that's actually physically out there that you can say Lucifer is real.
Can we post that?
Yeah, we're going to post the article so you can see it.
Can we also post the picture of the ghost woman on the stairs? Because that is a pretty weird picture.
Ghost woman on the stairs. Sure, yeah. I will try and find it and put
let's do those. All right, well, that's it for tonight. We're back tomorrow. True Crime Tuesday. Dumb crimes, stupid criminals. We've got a couple of doozies for you, Tim. Plus, a celebrity might be going to prison for 7 years. Find out who tomorrow on the best in Paranormal Talk Radio's True Crime Tuesday. This is Darkness Radio.